Hi, my name is Tyler Lamb and I'm from Broad Meadows Middle School. This is my STEM Fair acoustic levitation device. Essentially how it works is there's a transmitter and then a reflector at the top. And the transmitter creates sound waves that reflect off the reflector and create something called a standing wave. And at these standing waves there's antinodes and nodes. And at the nodes, there's very low pressure area. So that's what the ball is getting stuck in.
My name is Tylee and I'm at Broad Meadows. Acoustic levitation right now and in the future will be used to test drugs and chemicals without contaminating them. And right now they're used mostly in surgery with something called acoustic tweezers, where they basically just use the tweezers to lift things out of stuff and just move them without touching them physically.
Hi, my name is Drina Stase. I'm in 8th grade and I'm in Broad Meadows Middle School.
I'm Killa Ritchie. I'm in 8th grade and I go to Broad Meadows Middle School.
So this is our STEM project. It's biological versus chemical. It's basically talking about how rice levels affect the baked goods and how different leavening agents that we use can affect them as well. And the ones that we used for biological is yeast, and for chemical we use baking powder and baking soda. We also did none to show how it can really change your baked goods.
Basically what our hypothesis was, which you kind of already explained, but that biological will affect it the most out of all of the different ones, because we did biological, chemical, and none, just to see how doing a leavening agent versus doing no leavening agent would affect. And if you look, biological 1.7 centimeters, chemical 1.3 centimeters, and no leavening agent was just 0.7. So you can see how biological affects it the most and how doing none just doesn't really make it rise. And the materials is just the recipes for all the different things. And we did cookies, little cupcakes, banana bread, which is this, and then poolish, which is basically a simplified sourdough with how to make it here.
Our variables over here, the independent variable is the leavening agents, which we used here, and the measurements of them and whether we use one or not. The dependent is the rise level of the baked goods, as you can see here, and it's in centimeters. And the control is what baked goods we're making, including the different ingredients that we use for each baked good. So once we finished our whole entire thing, the conclusion, we just basically wrote about how we saw that would affect the rise levels most, and we stated the centimeter rise levels and the difference between biological, chemical, and none. And also in here we also stated our successes and difficulties throughout the project. Basically, a summary of that is one success was just learning about how our hypothesis was correct, and one difficulty was just time management and just trying to find the time to just make all of this.
And some of our results are that on average, the rise levels for the biological leavening versus the chemical leavening is that the biological ended up being 0.33 centimeters taller than the chemical, which kind of shows how just in general the biological rises it more. And then the biological, which was the highest one, versus no leavening agent, which is the lowest one, had a whole 1.85 centimeters difference. So that really goes to show how no leavening agent definitely affects the rise levels of the baked goods and how they're super important.
My name's John Austin, and our project here is Tank Warfare, Artist Meets Engineer. And our entire question is, if you were to take the best 3 tanks from World War I, World War II, and the Gulf War, would it be better than a tank using modern materials from nowadays, using the design model Da Vinci's tank?
So what we did was we took the engine from the World War I tank, and used it in using the design of the vintage tank. And we took the armor from the Panzer V, and we also took the cannons and guns from the M1 Abrams, and we pit it against a tank using the best modern materials we could find, such as like tungsten and a slightly larger cannon. And the modern tank won, but not for the reason you might think. It actually won because both tanks penetrated each other's armor, but this engine was more powerful than this early engine, which had only 4 cylinders and 4.5 liters. And this engine has 17 liters. And so yeah, it beat that in the engine compartment.